Let's talk about our Falcons because everybody's talking about the draft. Now, I don't know if you believe in these power rankings. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But I do think we're being disrespected when you talk about what our grade is and how some of these, papers and magazines, Mike, NFL.com, they're all rating the draft. All right? So here are the power rankings after the draft for us.
Again, power rankings.
The New York Post has us 16th. Sports Illustrated has us 20th. NFL.com has us 23rd, and Bleacher Report has us 29th. 29th? Come on. 29th?
But this is, I looked at some of the way too early 2024 mock drafts. Falcons are picking second. I mean, come on. They had us picking second last year, okay? This team won 7 games. All right. I don't know what Bleacher Report, I don't know whose feelings got hurt over there, but they've always got a mean on for us. The 20... All right, New York Post, I got to be honest, I think 16 is right where it's at. I mean, 16, you could argue you're on the cusp of a wild card, maybe win the division.
I agree. I think 29 is that's personal. Like, we don't like that team. They're never going to be anything. That's ridiculous. And to say that when arguably you've gotten maybe the third or fourth best player in this draft, that's what Bijan Robinson was projected as, Mike. And no hands down, best running back. But we're talking about the third or fourth best player in the draft, and you're going to rank us 29th?
Yeah, I mean, look, and these, I will say this. I know they have to provide content. We've discussed it. I just think putting a mark, an A+, an A-, you don't know. They haven't played it down.
Nope.
You have no idea what their career is going to be. Now, if you want to look back and look at the first draft class, and we could say, all right, maybe it's a B, because, Ritter had Kyle Pitts had an amazing first year. He, was going to the Pro Bowl, 1,000-yard receiver. But last year, the injury, and, can't help me if you're not on the field. And then we've talked about some of the other pieces that have worked and not worked. But the first year, the guys haven't played them. I mean, again, it's May, and you guys are doing this. I understand people take this stuff as the gospel. I think it's the biggest waste of time.
Yeah, I do too. When you talk about realistically trying to give us the rankings based on what we know coming out of college. Kyle Smith, by the way, is the Falcons Vice President of Player Personnel. Speaking to the media, Mike, how confident are you in Ritter? We asked our guest earlier. We asked Steve Berline about it. You'll hear that interview coming up a little bit later as Steve Berline stopped by the show today. We asked Josh Kendall from The Athletic, how much do you trust Ritter? Well, Kyle Smith, again, Falcons Vice President of Player Personnel, had this to say.
Yeah, with Desmond, really excited about Desmond moving forward and, what he did at the end of the year and getting some of that experience at the back half of the year there. But with Dez, it was number one. The thing that sticks out is it's the leadership, the wiring. As you guys know, at that position, there's a lot of different skill sets. There's a lot of different physical attributes that you have to play the position. But what separates a lot of players is it's from the neck up, and not just from an intelligence perspective. It's from how you face adversity, how you're wired, your toughness, your mindset, all those things. And he has all those. You know what I mean? So once you have those at that position, now you're interested in the skill set. And when you watch his tape, he's got good arm strength. He's got accuracy. He can get out of the pocket. So he's got all those things. There's things he needs to work on, right? He needs to get better, as all of our players.
And that's Kyle Smith, again, Falcons Vice President of Player Personnel. We rarely hear from Kyle, but I'm telling you guys, he's right there. When Terry's sitting there and they're talking about these players, he's right next to him. They are lock and step together. And I think when you hear his soundbite about Ritter, you hear a little bit of Terry and what Terry's been trying to say about Ritter as well. And then we take it to Arthur Smith. And this is what Arthur Smith has been saying. Head up, from the neck up, Mike, he's got it.
Right.
He gets it. He's going to lead. He's going to do all the things we expect him to do. It's just about the play and the skill set. Kyle Smith also was asked about Bijan Robinson. This is what he said.
Yeah, I think it's, I think Art and Terry talked about it a little bit, but the first thing that pops, obviously, when you're doing Bijan is his run skills, right? His instincts, his natural, the vision, his cut ability. He's got strength. He can do it all. So he's in a do-it-all type of back. Then you start, as an evaluator, that's the first thing you're watching, right? The runner. Now you start thinking about your team and how he fits into us. And you're thinking about Coach Smith, and you're thinking about Dave Ragone and their, how their minds work in terms of utilizing different weapons and skill sets. And then you start getting excited about the potential of, Tyler Algier and what he showed, and CP and Avery, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. So your mind starts going, all because of the different things that Bijan can do. He's an outstanding run. It's every position that you put him in can be an impact. And not just impact from production, but impact on how that other team has to, what goes into their mindset going into that week.
It's interesting.
Right.
That, again, is Kyle Smith, guys. It's Dukes and Bell. It's Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. One last thing as we started this segment talking about, the Post and Sports Illustrated and grading out our draft and giving us the power rankings. This is what he thinks about our draft class.
Yeah, I thought it was, we've just like 32 teams, right? All 32 teams feel really good about their draft, but really happy with all 6 of our guys. Not only the talent that they have, the vision that we have for them, not only this year but moving forward, and the character and football makeup that they have. All of them are outstanding workers, teammates, all those things.
You keep hearing character, don't you?
Yeah, and that's why, you and I were talking about with Josh Kendall from The Athletic. I know there's Falcon fans, some guys we talked about, yes, I don't want to hear about no filter. I want some dogs. Well, yes, and literally you do want dogs. But in this case, these guys are all leaders, are all coming from this same kind of background. You're hearing about dudes. You mentioned what we've got from the kid from Syracuse, Bergeron. He's that guy. Heck, even the 7th rounder from South Carolina was a leader of the Gamecocks. So this is something, and if you heard our interview, if you've seen anything from Bijan Robinson, how can you not be impressed? Carl, I know kids come from different walks of life and different backgrounds in school, but it is kind of cool when you hear a guy who sounds like Bijan Robinson sounds. He's ready to rock.
Yeah, I just think we can't take that lightly when you've got the player personnel guy, the general manager, and the head coach all talking about character and makeup.
So now you know what they're looking for.
Absolutely.
And that precludes Jalen Carter in this unfortunate what happened. And as we said, he'll maybe, again, much better situation in Philadelphia, what they built up there. And he'll be able, hopefully, to succeed. And Bijan succeeds. But it was never really going to happen here after the things went down the way they did. And then the subsequent pro day.
Yeah. And again, that's not the only reason why. Again, I can't tell you that that's the only reason why, but I do think it was a part of it. And hearing the front office speak now, as you're hearing different guys that we normally don't get a chance to hear, and if we do, we hear them once a year. You won't hear Kyle Smith during the season. It's not going to happen. So he's behind the scenes and doing the things that they need to do. As he said, they're going to start working on next year's draft class, talking about scouting and where they're going, and they're going to get the guys together. But this is a nonstop deal.